Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I am joined with both Sherman and Slothy. Sherman, how you doing this morning?
I am tired. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I think that's the season. So it is what it is.
It's fair. And
Yeah,
Slothy,
how about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. They pushed my going back to work back a little bit, which kind of bummed me out because my leg's still not the best, but it's getting good.
You're bored as hell.
Yeah, well, I like making money too, right? So,
Yeah.
it's the one nice part about it is it does coincide kind of nicely with an event we have coming up, so I don't have to actually book time off work now, which is kind of nice. So, yeah, I'll get that plug out of the way real quickly too. If you are in Calgary or Alberta and stuff, come to the face-to-face event. Come hang out with us. It's November 15, 16, 17. I will be there on Painkillers with Broken Leg. It'll be a good time. That's it. That's pretty much it. Other than that, no, I've been pretty good. A pretty busy week, but it was nice. And then Slothy, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm also coming down with something. Also very much looking forward to the event in November.
Everyone's too under the weather lately. I don't know why. I guess it's just that time of the year that everyone kind of gets run down. It's right before Christmas, so it's a lot of stuff going on. So I get it. I hope everyone's feeling a little bit better soon and everything, especially for the event. And yeah, no, I'm just hoping everyone's had a good week. It's been lots of holidays up in Canada, lots of busy stuff. The States, everyone's crazy. New Magic news. There's Foundation stuff. The Foundation cards look kind of cool. They changed how damage assignment works. I'm not even touching that right now. I just leave every one of these bonfires alone. It's a lot. It's a lot to go through with them. But I do want to go back into some of the commanders. We haven't really had a chance to go through Duskmorn stuff. We didn't really get to do Duskmorn spoilers, and we've only done like a Duskmorn commander because we've been so busy with stuff. So, without further ado, let's...
Before that,
yep.
we should hit our sponsors.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Thank you, everyone, for coming over and checking out Patreon and stuff. I'm working on kind of updating some of the website. You can go do that. If you like any of the cards in this episode, House of Cards, let me hit that screen. There we go. houseofcards.ca. You can use promo code IT99. It gets you a discount. It gets us a little bit of support. It's kind of nice. AI Armor sleeves. There's a link in every one of the show notes. They're great. They're like one of the nicest sponsors. They're a great product. I've got some cool giveaway stuff that we're going to do at the event with them too. So go check those out. We do still Abyss Proxy Shop. You can get some of the more expensive ones. Promo code again IT99. But yeah, go check out House of Cards. They're phenomenal. Every time I've interacted with them at the events, they are great. And then, yeah, like, share, subscribe. Really helps us out. Patreon, blah, blah, blah. I'll hit it again at the end. Now, into what this nonsense card is. I can't stop building this one. I've built, I think, like 4 or 5 of these. It's Kona Rescue Beastie. It's a pretty silly looking card. So it is it's a dumb card, mono green. Kona Rescue Beastie is 3 and a green for a beast survivor, 4/3. This like weird 3-headed beast thing, mask, holding flashlights, backpacks. It is a weird looking card, all in all. It has an ability called Survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona Rescue Beastie is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's a pretty ridiculous ability. Just all in all, like that's a pretty crazy ability to just freely have whenever you want or need.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cracked. So we want to, like, the ideal things that we want to do with this deck are, number 1, keep Kona alive because we want our free casts. And number 2, we want to put good things in. There's so many cool directions you can go with Kona. I made a cool Kona group hug deck. It's a lot of fun to play. I've got Kona Vehicles, but this is my Kona Artifacts one. So let's go into some of my strategies. I'm going to start us off with just artifact good stuff. If you're building an artifact deck, it's kind of crazy to not include these like first 2 cards. The first one's impossible to find anywhere. But yeah, I'll let you guys take them away, please.
Slothy?
Sure. The first one we've got here is Cyberman Patrol. 2 mana for a 2/2 artifact creature, Cyberman. And artifact creatures you control have Afflict 3.
Yeah, this card is impossible to find. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Such a good card. With the Afflict 3 is just so good on every single artifact creature you have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it just it's a lot. Afflict, for anyone who doesn't know, it's if they block, they lose 3 life. So you can take all my artifact damage, or you can take 3 life per block. It's generally speaking, it's going to come down and win the game for us. A lot of the times, once you drop this is your I'm swinging to win card. You're not putting this, it's a 2 mana card. You're not putting it out like turn 2 and being like, oh, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
You hold
Next
this one
card.
a little.
Next card is also equally hard to find. It's Cyberman Squadron for 7 mana. Artifact creature, Cyberman, 5/5. Non-legendary artifact creatures you control have Myriad.
It's also an obnoxious card.
Yeah, that's so annoying.
It's
like, who needs play to cells when you have Cyberman Squadron?
It's really, really good. There's a lot of cool artifact stuff that functions with typical ETB. Like there's like, Mirror Battlesphere, for example, like just a great enters, do damage kind of thing, right? Or not do damage, get mirrors. So there's always good stuff to get ETBs with. I love ETB on everything, right? Our third artifact good stuff card isn't really even an artifact. It's Sarenth Steel Seeker. It's 1 and a green, human artificer scale 1/2. Whenever an artifact enters under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put it into your hand, you may throw it into your graveyard. So it gives us kind of a pseudo surveil effect with the ability to pull lands up every time we get it. So we're going to not miss as many land drops. Kind of nice.
Not bad. Which section you want to go in next?
We'll just go right down this one. There's nothing special in it. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
There's a group hug section. We'll get there. Slothy, take us away.
Sure. Okay. Pulling this up.
Slothy's in bed still.
Next. Yes. So we're doing the copy stuff section next?
Yeah.
Cool. You said down and it threw me off. It is still very early. The first one we've got here is Mirage Mirror. 3 mana for an artifact. You can pay 2 and have it become a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn.
I'm so glad to see this drop in price so much.
It's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah.
It's such a fun card. And like, let's face it, if you like, one of the ways to make it so that like you can compete against other people that have a lot of like expensive cards in their deck is having things that copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mirage Mirror definitely helps that.
A really nice thing about about this Kona deck in particular is it lets you get a lot of stuff out. So you don't have to focus as much on casting your stuff, right? If I want to get a 7 drop out, I just got to get Kona tapped, right? I have to either attack and have it not die or find a way to tap it down. That's okay. So it gives us just a ton of ability to use these Mirage Mirror kind of effects on cards because we don't really need our mana all the time, right? And there's so many players in our play groups that are running a Smothering Tithe, that are running stuff like that. And just at 2 mana, like dropping down, I'm going to copy your Smothering Tithe for the turn. I'm going to copy your Rhystic for the turn. That can really, really help out. And if we don't really need our mana for casting, then we've got lots of cool stuff. Like there's lots of things that we abuse our mana with in this.
Next card we have here is going to be Sculpting Steel for 3 mana. It's an artifact. You may have Sculpting Steel enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield.
No wrong answer with that card. There's so many cool things. I'm just saying, if you got 2 Cyberman Squadrons, a Flick 6 would be crazy.
It's fun seeing the people play this when there's like a liquid metal torque or liquid metal steel. So it's like, okay, you have a creature or enchantment, you just make it an artifact, and then you cast Sculpting Steel after.
Well, yeah, and then copy all their cool things.
Yeah.
I love it.
So nice.
We've got some decent draw in here. I'll start us off with our draw. We have the Canoptic Spider. It's a 5 mana. Again, so nice that we can just like get Kona out. If we can get it out and tap at the same turn, there's so much big plays. We can go from a 4 mana turn to like really, really high ahead. We got some high value artifacts. This is a 5 mana spider, 4/4. It has flying, which is actually pretty decent. And it has Fabricator Claw Array. Whenever another non-token artifact, creature, or vehicle enters under your battlefield, the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. Very, very good in the vehicle version of the deck. I just couldn't take myself to take it out because every time I get an artifact creature draw, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Then we've got the Mercadian Atlas. 5 mana for an artifact. At the end of your turn, if you didn't play a land this turn, you may draw a card.
It's an interesting card.
It's weird draw.
Yeah, it's a weird draw for sure. 100%.
You wouldn't run it in a normal deck because 5 is pretty hefty to pay for that, right? But dumping it out for free, very different story.
Yeah.
I
would take that effect for free.
Yeah, I normally have this in a deck where it's heavy land
Mhm.
because normally in the first like 4 or 5 turns I've dumped so much land on the battlefield I don't care.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah, but
it's great if you have like something like a burgeoning 2 and stuff and you don't want to play out your lands until other people's turns. You can do that too. It's just like I said, we with free stuff we want as many cards in our hand as possible. There's going to be a lot of things that draw us cards, draw everyone cards. I don't care because I'm dumping stuff out. Go ahead and draw your counterspell. I'm not casting it.
Yeah, just because like Kona's a little busted because it says like any permanent card from your hand. So yeah,
it's like crazy. Not creature, not artifact, just any. Just put whatever you feel in.
Yeah, whatever.
You want to throw
heart desires.
Yeah, you want to throw lands in. Be my guest.
Yeah,
Kona's silly.
Next card we have here is going to be Mind's Eye for 5 mana. Artifact, whenever an opponent draws a card, you may pay 1. If you do, you draw a card as well.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got some weird ways to pay mana for other people's turns that we don't care about. I'm really, really starting to like this next card. It's super cool. Next to Becoming is a 6 mana artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you draw a card. Phenomenal for us. Then you can exile an artifact or creature from your hand. If you do, you create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 3/3 golem in addition to its other types. So things like a Cyberman Squadron, for instance, like that just is a bigger Cyberman Squadron now, right? The same with like our Mercadian Atlas. We can throw that away. It's going to become a 3/3 golem, still giving us that same static ability. I really, really like this card. I think it's so cool. You're not penalized if you don't discard a card. You just get a draw, which is really cool. I just am really, really enjoying the card in general.
Then we've got the Sandstone Oracle. 7 mana for a 4/4 artifact creature Sphinx with flying. When it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. If that player has more cards in hand than you, draw cards equal to the difference.
That's a silly card.
It's interesting.
That's a silly card for free. I like it.
Pseudo card draw.
It is pseudo card draw. Yep, that's fair.
All right, we have a silly card here. Staff of Nin for 6 mana. Another artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card. And you can tap it to have it deal 1 damage to any target.
Fair. Nice fair draw at 6 mana.
6 mana is excessive. But once again, we don't care because we're not going to pay it most likely.
When you had Jeweled Lotus, there was a realistic chance that you could have turn 1 Kona and then Staff of Nind, and then you could just be hitting people's birds left and right. That would have been rough. I'm not saying I agree with the ban, but Kona does make a good argument for why you shouldn't turn 1 a 4 mana commander. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
We have the Deck of Many Things, a card that I can never find anywhere, and I finally found one. So happy about it. It is a 5 mana legendary artifact. It has 2. Again, we don't care about mana. We're not casting really. Has 2. You tap it, roll a d20, and subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 0 or less, you discard your hand. 1 to 9 is you return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand, which is just good recursion. 10 to 19, draw 2 cards, exactly what we want. And 20, put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. That is such a good effect, such a good alternate kind of kill people condition. The problem is, it does not say may, and if there are no other creatures in the graveyard, you will have to take your own creature, and you will die to your own nonsense. So just be a little careful with your shenanigans.
Deck of Many Things is like so risky in D&D anyways.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do it.
Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you end the world with it.
I respect it.
The next one we've got is Well of Discovery. 6 mana for an artifact. At the end of your turn, if you control no untapped lands, draw a card.
It's the perfect card for me. I interact with nothing ever.
It's so true. You always tap out.
I like to balls to the wall everything. So if I've got no untapped lands at the end of turn and I just get free card draw for it, that's great. Like this draw section, they're all really cool draw engines, but every one of these is pretty much like it's too expensive to run in a general deck, with the exception of maybe Mind's Eye, because like the dropping a 6 mana artifact to potentially draw a card is not great in EDH, right? But when you can do it for free, and do it early, then I think you get a lot of really good benefits. We've got 2 extra commander triggers. Roaming Throne's too expensive. It's good if you can afford a Roaming Throne in a deck, put it in. It's not shocking advice. It's good in every deck. Roaming Throne is a great card. You get an extra trigger for your commander. I get it. I understand. You don't need to comment it on YouTube. You don't need to DM me and be like, why don't you play it? Nobody has them. They're very good. Put one in if you have one. Our first one is going to be Lithoform Engine, which I love. It's a 4-mana legendary artifact. Pay 2. You can copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You can choose new targets. That 2 mana is going to let us get a second Kona ability off, which is already going to be great. Pay 3. You can copy target instant or sorcery you control. We don't really, I don't think have very many of those in there. That's irrelevant. Just ignore those line of text. And number 4, you can copy target permanent spell you control. The copy becomes a token. That is pretty good. If we can start drawing stuff, that's pretty obnoxious. We got some cool stuff. You don't want me to have 6 Staff of Nins out. I'll tell you that right now. Hit everyone.
Do you want this next one, Sherman? I think you got skipped.
Doesn't matter. I don't care.
Okay. Then yeah, we got Strionic Resonator. 2 mana for an artifact. 2 and tap it. Copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Nice,
Yeah.
solid.
Good card. Cheap Roaming Throne.
All right. The next section you have here is going to be, it's labeled as free abuse. So let's see what we have here. All right. So first card we have here. Oh, goodness, I hate this card. So we have Chimil, the Inner Sun for 6 mana. Legendary artifact. Spells you control can't be countered. At the beginning of your end step, discover 5. So to discover 5, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 5 or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in random order. This card is so annoying. My play group is starting to play this more often, to the point where I'm starting to play with counter spells that don't counter spells.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
The way we're using it too, right? We're trying to dump it out. So like we could, again, even if we're on, we have a lot of ways to tap our commander pretty much as soon as it hits the board, because it's going to die. People are going to block your commander. You're very rarely going to get to swing this freely. People will throw their commanders away. Like they're not letting you throw this out. I'm sure there's tons of Eldrazi routes and everything. That was like my initial, I was like, I should do Eldrazi. And I was like, you know what? No, I won't do that. But the fact that you can get this spells can't be countered spell out without casting it is really, really obnoxious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
everyone start playing more with things like Divide by 0 or Commit to Memory or something. Like if your play group played with spells can't be countered, start playing stuff like that. Like Smirking Spelljacker, all that stuff. Just so that, they can find out that this does nothing.
Because I've had people like take my spell on the stack. Ooh,
yeah,
that one hurts. Can't be countered.
Yeah, well,
that's fine. Ooh, I don't like that.
The funny thing is when people have like stuff like that, it's like things like where it says spells you you control can't be countered. It's like a false sense of security for people. So if you start playing things like we're like, okay, I have Chimo, I cast like Teferi's Protection. I'm like, okay, I'll Narcissus Reversal it. I'm not countering it. It goes to your hand. I copy it. I get the protection. Now everything's still destroyed because you did it during a board wipe. Bye.
Yep. I love a good Narcissus Reversal and something like that. The Discover mechanic's pretty cool. It's I built one of the I think it's Capricotti or whatever the Boros one is, where it's you can tap things and discover 3. I really, really like that. I like that deck a lot. It's tons of fun. But there's Discover 5. I think Discover's the nicer thing of because it's not Cascade, right? Like it's just until you get something 5 or less. It's better Cascade. I like that you don't have to cast it. You can put it into your hand. It's kind of nice too. So you don't really whiff on spells. But yeah, it's that's a fun one. Is it my turn this time? I know I'm out of order. I'm out of line.
It is your turn, yes.
Okay, yeah. Darksteel is also is bad card. They shouldn't have designed this card. It was stupid to design. It's 8 mana, indestructible. Once each turn, you can pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for colorless spells you cast from your hand. That's rough to be able to get out fast.
That's really, really rough.
You could, in an ideal Kona world, and I don't have the Eldrazi in here, we're being chill, but In an ideal Kona world, you could like turn 2, turn 3 Kona, get it tapped, Darksteel Monolith out, and then just cast a free cast Ulamog. Just for fun.
Yeah. Then you'll have no friends. You'll have no play.
You'll have no one to play the deck with, but it will be a very powerful deck that sits on the shelf.
Next one we've got is Kodama of the East Tree. 4 double green for a 6/6 legendary creature spirit with reach. Whenever another permanent you control enters, if it wasn't put on the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser mana value from your hand onto the battlefield, and it has partner.
Equal or lesser is crazy. That's nuts. Why would they make that?
It's not entirely broken. Kind of broken. Not entirely broken.
It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
Okay, we have a Wondrous Crucible for 7 mana. Artifact. Permanents you control have Ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, mill 2 cards, then exile a non-land card at random from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. I like this card just for the Ward 2, to be honest.
It gives some nice protection blanket. I don't mind this like way to recur, because people are going to destroy your stuff for sure. So at least you have a chance of randomly getting it back a little bit this way. It's kind of nice. We've got a little bit of recursion in the deck, but not as much. I'm very excited about our next section, and it's Group Hug. It's Group Hug. I put Group Hug stuff in every deck. You're playing a lot of really annoying things in this Kona deck. You gotta temper it a little bit. You gotta chill out just a bit. Like you could, there's a few stacks pieces in here that aren't like too crazy, but like you gotta relax a little bit when you're free casting. People don't like it. People don't like free cast. So we start our Group Hug with a Font of Mythos. I want to draw. I don't care. So many people are like, oh, I don't like to give advantage to my opponents. My opponents aren't putting out a Darksteel Monolith for free, so I don't care. I don't care what they get in their hand. Get it. Go ahead. We have a Font of Mythos, 4 mana. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws 2 additional cards.
They need to reprint this. They should reprint this in Foundation.
They do need to reprint this very badly. And Howling Mine, please. There's none left. I love the cards so much.
The next one we've got is Gate to the Ether, 6 mana artifact. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player reveals the top card of their library. If it's an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card, they may put it into play.
Everybody gets Kona effects.
This is such a dangerous card. It's so dangerous.
Everybody gets Kona effects. Sherman packs removal. Sherman's revealing a counterspell and hurt my feelings, but everyone else get Kona effect.
Yeah, we're complete opposites when it comes to stuff like that. Like you'll build a deck with that's like 30 creatures, and I'll build a deck that has like 30 instants.
I'm rarely whiffing on the Gate to the Ether. I'll tell you that right now.
I whiff on it a lot.
Yeah.
All right. We have the next card here. It's going to be Horn of Greed for 3 mana. Artifact. Whenever a player plays a land, that player draws a card. What the heck? Why is it $21?
It's so expensive. All of these Group Hug things need a reprint. I'm not saying that the Group Hug Legion is strong, but the Group Hug Legion is strong and they're all animals.
But seriously, why is this 20? I remember when this card used to be like $5.
My Group Hug section, I think, is like almost the most expensive section in here. It's like $60.
Good golly.
Yeah.
It should not be that high. What the hell?
It's just fun to say Pot of Greed every time I get somebody. I play a land, Pot of Greed. I love that meme so much. It's just like I cast Pot of Greed. That's not how the card works.
Oh my goodness.
I cast Horn of Greed to draw 3 additional cards from my deck.
Yeah. That's a good one. We have Horn of Plenty, another card that I've started shoving into decks, which is really, really cool Group Hug. It's a little pricey, but again, the fact that we can get it out so cheap with our commander is great. 6 mana. Whenever a player plays a spell, he or she may pay 1. If that player does, he or she draws a card at the end of the turn. It's like reverse Rhystic Study. Do you pay the 1 to draw?
True.
I like it.
Next one we've got is Howling Mine. 2 mana artifact. Beginning of each player's draw step. If Howling Mine's untapped, that player draws an additional card.
$5. Why is it $5? Make this a 50-cent rare.
Yep,
Because
reprint
you
it.
bought them all and driven up the price of it.
I'm wrecking the stock individually.
We have the next card is going to be Otherworld Atlas for 4 mana. Another artifact. You tap it, put a charge counter on the Atlas. Or you can tap it and each player draws a card for each charge counter on the Atlas.
Yeah. Just again,
it's
nice.
a fun card.
Nice.
Once you get it
Group
going,
Hug.
it is pretty fun.
I do like the Atlas a lot. We have Pier's Whim. We do have a lot of lands in this deck we actually want out. I run because it's so artifact heavy, I run the Urza lands in here. So it's very fun to be able to go fetch your Urza lands. But there's some cool, like we'll get to our land section. There's lots of lands we actually do want. Pier's Whim is 3 and a green. For each player you choose friend or foe, each friend searches their library for a land, puts it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffles. Each foe sacks an artifact or enchantment. I almost always choose friend. Pretty much, you've got to have really wronged me for the day. Someone's attacked me for 1 damage. Foe for life. I'm normally pretty chill with the friend or foe cards.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we've got Temple Bell, 3 mana artifact. Tap it to have each player draw a card.
Nice, simple, easy, effective.
Also $7. Why?
Yeah, like
all the group hug stuff is crazy right now. It's all nuts. It's all whacked.
I blame yeah.
True. To be honest, yeah, true.
They didn't put any of the cards in the deck.
Yeah, so everyone had to go buy them.
So true. All right. We have a Tempt with Discovery for 3 and a green. Sorcery. Tempting offer. Search your library for a land card. Put it in the battlefield. Each opponent may do the same thing, and if they do, you get to do the same thing. So, fun times.
We do have the Urza lands in here. Usually I just say like, hey, I'm going to go grab the 1 land I want and like a few basics. But I'm going to be honest with people. I'm going to go grab the Urza lands. So,
yeah.
Everyone's always like, oh, you should just strip mine it. No one plays strip mine. That's not a main deck card. Everyone leaves lands alone. Cowards.
Field of Ruin, baby. Field of Ruin.
Field of Ruin all day. Yeah, I like Tempt with Discovery, but like I said, after people, if they see that you have an Urza's Mine, Tower, Power Plant, they're not going to let you go get those. They're going to be like, no, I refuse your offer. And then our last one is Well of Knowledge. I think this is a fun card too, which you don't ever see played. It's a 3 mana card. Any player can pay 2 during his or her draw phase to draw a card. Players can use it as many times as they choose. It's very nice mana sink.
Yeah.
I'll go through some of these lands because we do have a bunch that actually matter. Number 1 is Fomori Vault. It's just a good, if you're playing artifacts, it's really good. Taps for colorless, 3 and a tap, you discard a card. Look at the top X cards of your library where X is the number of artifacts you control. Put 1 of those into your hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order. That's a pretty deep scry, like in a straight artifact based deck. And a lot of times, because we've got a lot of draw, we're going to throw away like a forest kind of thing. We don't care and go grab something decent. We have a bunch of forests in the deck, and then pretty much every other land in the deck does one of these things or is an Urza land. So the first is going to be Holdout Settlement. It taps for a colorless or tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. That is going to be like the most important mechanic we can get because we want that out as fast as possible. The faster we can tap Kona, the better. People are going to try double block Kona, kill Kona. We don't want Kona to die. The whole point, it's a survivor. It's a survivor. We need it to survive. We don't want to attack. So a lot of these lands do those kind of things. We have Scene of the Crime, enters tapped, taps for colorless, pay 2, tap an untapped creature you control, add mana of any color, or you can later game, pay 2, sack it, draw a card. So pretty decent card. It's a clue artifact land as well. So we can, if you have I don't think I have it in the deck, but a prototype portal, you could prototype portal Scene of the Crime like every turn and have this crime land, which is cool. Survivor's Encampment is another thing. Basically the namesake of the deck. You tap for a colorless, tap an untapped creature for 1 mana of any color, blah, blah, blah. The Shire enters tapped unless you control a legendary creature, taps for 1 in the green, tap an untapped creature you control, create a food token. We have all of the Urza's lands because we're bad people. So, but yeah, it's we have Cave, Factory, Mine, Power Plant, Tower. Urza's Workshop is pretty expensive right now, and it sucked to go by. It's a good card, but yeah, it's tap it, Metalcraft, add it for each Urza's land you control, activate it only if you control 3 or more. That's it. All right, back to the actual deck. Someone else, please.
Moving in over to our protection section. We've got the Archetype of Endurance. 6 double green for a 6/5 enchantment creature boar. Creatures you control have hexproof. Creatures your opponents control lose hexproof and cannot have or gain it.
That's funny.
That's a cool card.
I like that. So I'm so used to seeing Shadow Speeders out. This is fun.
Yeah.
Ooh. So next card here we have is going to be Dense Foliage for 2 and a green. It's an enchantment. Creatures can't beat the targets of spells. So everybody has Shroud?
This card shuts Sherman's deck down.
All creatures, yep. You'll remove nothing.
I wouldn't mind this if I'm playing Hirobi, so so people will leave me alone, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, this is not so bad." And the moment they get rid of Dense Foliage, you're like, "Oh crap, Hirobi is out."
Yeah. Right. We have a Dolem Gate here. It's 2 mana, prevent all combat damage to be dealt to attacking creatures you control. Again, this is only to keep Kona alive.
I did not realize this was a $20 card now.
Oh, yeah. I know. Trust me. All of these things
expensive.
Are hurting me deeply.
Yeah.
I think a cheaper option would be something like Bubble Matrix.
Probably.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think that one's like maybe like a $4 or $5 card.
What is Bubble Matrix?
Bubble Matrix is like a, if I remember correctly, it's a 4-cost artifact. All creatures dealt damage receive 0 damage instead. So or pretty much prevent all damage.
All damage dealt to creatures is reduced to 0. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a cheaper option.
It's like
for
$3.
I think it's like maybe $4 or $5 now.
It's only 3.
Oh, see? Even better.
That's really cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Bubble Matrix is a much better card for that, and especially we can put it out cheap, so.
Yeah, I had it in Locust God. That's the reason why I know.
I'm gonna put that on my list of cards to buy. That's a really cool card. Look at me learning.
Rule changes don't matter when you have cards like that.
Yeah, right.
I need to look up the finer details of that rule change. I wanted to see if it affects my banding or not.
Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures. No, it actually probably makes banding better.
Maybe we'll see.
There's so there's no priority in the quick explanation of it is there's no priority in the assign damage step now.
Yeah.
So for the banding stuff, you would get to choose. They can't cast instants after you choose. Normally, like you assign, they cast. So, but they can't do that. You would just get to choose however you want it. So is banding so back, baby? Let's go.
I've always loved it. Like I had to argue with someone, a rule argument, because I put banding and I blocked against someone. Or actually it wasn't me, it was actually no, yeah, it was me. So and they tried to they like okay, like they had a creature that was like 10/10 and it was trample. I'm like, all right, I put all 10 trample into this 1/1/1 creature. And they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, I can. It's like, no, trample says that as long as you deal lethal damage and rest trample over. I'm like, no, you can choose to put all.
Yeah, you're assigning all of that damage
you want over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
banning's
anyways,
cool. Yeah, jumping back in here, we've got the Oak Street Innkeeper. 2 and a green for a 1/2 elf. As long as it's not your turn, tapped creatures you control have hexproof.
Yeah.
Good for your commander.
Exactly. We have weird ramp in this. We've got some of it's like my normal stuff. Is it who is it right now? Is it you starting a Sherman or me?
It's me. So the first card we have here is going to be a Cultivate. Your nice classic Cultivate for 2 and a green. Sorcery, search your land or your library for 2 lands. Oh, sorry, 2 basic lands. Put 1 on battlefield tapped, and the other 1 in your hand. Shuffle your library afterwards.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
We've got an Elvish Mystic, which is just again basic. We want our card out. It's I put them in too many green decks, but I like the Mystic. I like the Lana War Elves. So 1 mana Elf Druid taps for 1 green, and it's a 1/1.
Yeah. Then we've got Honor Worn Shaku. 3 mana artifact. You can tap it for a colorless, or tap an untapped legendary permanent you control to untap Honor Worn Shaku.
It's so good.
Such a good card in this deck. Oh, and it's only 35 cents now. Yay.
And it's legendary permanent. You can do Planeswalkers. We have legendary artifacts in this deck. You can tap those for mana. Like we've got a lot. Oh, Honor Worn Shaku is a huge.
Got legendary land as well.
Yeah.
You did it for the land when you want to tap it for mana anyways.
Doesn't matter. Tap however you want. I love the Honor Worn Shaku. It's a really, really cool card. We have Karn Living Legacy. You could... It's not my turn. Sherman, please.
Yeah, there you go. We have Karn Living Legacy for 4 mana. It's a Planeswalker. It's Karn. It comes in with 4 loyalty. For a +1, create a tapped Power Stone token. So remember, the Power Stones can only tap for artifacts or spend mana for artifacts. -1 is to pay an amount of mana, look at that many cards from the top of your library, then put one of those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Or you have a -7. You get an emblem with tap an untapped artifact you control. This emblem deals 1 damage to any target.
Every one of those is great for us.
So good, so strong.
The Power Stone's wonderful. Again, we don't really need our mana, so we can dig pretty deep if we need to, like pay 6-7 into it. Look pretty deep and do that in our pre-combat main phase. Go fetch something big to put out with Kona. Or, again, we get an absurd emblem that's obnoxious. We have a Llanowar Elf. Very riveting card. Exciting. It's 1 green for a 1/1 Elf Druid. Taps for 1 green.
Then we've got Relic of Legends. 3 mana artifact. Tap it for 1 mana of any color, or you can tap an untapped legendary creature you control to add 1 mana of any color.
And then a classic Soul Ring. So 1 mana, you can tap it to add 2 colorless mana. I heard they're gonna ban this one.
Bracket 0, baby. Let's go.
Anyways.
Yeah, right. Soul Ring still good. We have a Thought Vessel because we do want no max hand size. Reliquary Tower would be good, but I didn't think it was good enough to include. I like it more on a mana rock. So we have the Samurai Starfish himself. 2 mana, you have no max hand size, taps for 1 colorless. That's what's drawn on the card, right? I'm not schizophrenic. Yep. Like I don't know what else it could be.
I mean, I see it, but I'm probably not the right person to be asking if you're schizophrenic or not.
What do you think, Voices?
The final ramp card we've got here is Throne of Eldraine. 5 mana for a legendary artifact. As it enters, choose a color. You can tap it for 4 mana of the chosen color. Spend this mana only to cast mono-colored spells of that color. Or you can pay 3 and tap it to draw 2 cards. Spend only mana of the chosen color to activate this ability.
That's not bad.
Holy smokes, it's $23.
Yeah, there's a lot of expensive pieces in this one. This is one of my not as cheaper decks. This is $380.
Yeah.
There's you could budget this version down a little bit by getting rid of just some of those nonsense $20 cards everywhere, but put in a Mind Stone or something. I get it. We have a recursion section here.
Yeah. So we got starting off with Conduct of Worlds for 2 double green artifact. You may play lands from your graveyard, and you can tap it, choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. We're not casting stuff when we're putting stuff in. It's fine.
Exactly. It's a very nice piece. The next one, I'm shocked you don't see it in more decks for how good it is. Like, I don't know, what was it? Like, was it just not in? I have like a few of them sitting around. Dominaria United Commander, and I think that might be it. Yeah. So I guess that's why you don't see it more. But Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. It's 1 mana for legendary artifact with flash. If a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips it, which is just a good static effect in general. But 4 and a tap, exile it, return to the battlefield tapped all artifact, creature, enchantment, and land cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. There's so much mass wipe and stuff, like a Vandal Blast would kind of wreck our day.
Yeah.
But if you try to Vandal Blast me, and I bring it all back, oh buddy, oh you're in for a world of hurt then.
The only reason why I see people, I can see people not playing this as much is because one, either like it's very like if you're playing it, it's and you're board wiping quite a bit, it's really expensive in a sense because it's pretty much like 8 mana minimum to survive. When you think about it that way. So, because like, let's say like, your classic Wrath of God, right? Most Wraths are like 4 mana or above.
Yep.
So, and then 4 mana there, and then 4 mana for the Hourglass. I can see it being expensive. And then if you're not playing that many Wraths and you're still playing this, you have to keep 4 mana up just in case.
Yeah.
So it's kind of expensive for that.
It is a little bit of an expensive piece to keep. I like it for, there's a lot of times I get blown out because I'm trying to over stack a board, I wait till people draw a big piece of removal. So it's very nice. This obviously isn't going to help you in like a farewell situation where everyone exiles you. Ooh, that hurts.
Everybody lives.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, Slothy, start us with our lovely removal section. Not an instant. Not an instant. I don't even know if there is an instant in the deck so far.
So far, no.
I'm not beating the allegations.
You have flash. It's good.
yeah, I have an artifact that has flash. We're fine. I'll put in what's the mirror flash card?
Oh,
Shimmer
shimmering.
Shimmer mirror. There we go. Yeah,
Or
exactly.
shimmer mirror. Yeah.
Put a slot of shimmer mirror in. Then everything is an answer.
The first removal piece we've got here is All Is Dust. 7 mana for a tribal sorcery Eldrazi. Each player sacrifices all permanents they control that are one or more colors.
All right, there's one Eldrazi card in the deck. I'll admit.
Mm-mm. You lied to me.
I forgot about that. I forgot that was the tribal one. that
All good.
generally ends the game.
Then we have the Cityscape Leveler for 8 mana. Artifact creature construct. It is an 8/8. It has trample. When you cast a spell and whenever Cityscape Leveler attacks, destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token, and it also has Unearth of 8.
Since it makes Power Stone tokens, it is technically Group Hug. I'm just saying it.
I know. They just needed that one piece of ramp, right? So
Tapped Power
there
Stone.
you go.
Let's not be crazy. Yeah. And then we have Terastodon, because Terastodon is just a dirty card to drop on turn 4 if you get it without Kona. It's 6 double green for a 9/9, which is a crazy early drop. It enters, you can destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into the graveyard this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant. If you can turn 4 this, you can realistically ruin someone's night. You can wreck all of their lands early game. And again, you might not have people to play with if you play that way, but you do have a way to seek vengeance on those who have wronged you in Commander games by blowing their lands up. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm saying it's something I've done.
It is a thing to do.
Yes, it's a thing. Yeah, Terastodon's pretty rough removal. I almost always hit lands with it. I'm a bad person.
Sometimes you need to do it.
It's so funny to hit people's like one color of lands and stuff. Like be like, I'll take all 3 of your red sources away. Hilarious. I think it's so funny.
Remember, okay, there's another reason why we want to clone things, right? So if Dan brings out Terastodon, it's okay. I'll cast a clone. I'll make a copy of Terastodon, and I'll hit him. I'll destroy his Urza mine, power plant, and
That would be rough. I assemble the mine, power plant, and tower and just get them wiped with the Terastodon clone. Ugh. Yeah, Terastodon's kind of mean. And then we have this weird section that is pretty chill. Don't worry about this one.
Right.
Don't worry about this one.
Hence, you named it Stacks. Totally. Yeah. Let's totally ignore it.
All right. I won't. I can't beat the allegations on this first card.
I believe it is my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I wanted to read this one. We've got Nullstone Gargoyle. 9 mana for an artifact creature gargoyle. It's a 4/5 with flying. Whenever the first non-creature spell each turn is played, counter that spell. I looked.
Yeah.
You do not have a single instant in this deck.
Good. We don't need it.
But you've got that. You've got that, so you're good.
We don't need it where we're going. Anything non-creature that we're playing, we can just put in to play. So we're looking fine.
It's okay. So plus you have like a Chimmel, right? So if you have Chimmel out and you cast this, your first spell that you cast as non-creature doesn't matter.
Very true. Mm-hmm. I play that way in Tygam. I should name this deck Kona Permanent Ban from the Group, because it's all permanents, and you'll get kicked out of your play group playing this way. But it's fun. It's fun. We're having a good time. Speaking of our good time card, Sherman.
Sure. All right. We have a Portal to Phyrexia for 9 mana artifact. When a Portal to Phyrexia enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types.
That's another card that can wreck the game early.
Yeah, that's a really strong card.
If somebody, again, if we, the faster we get these big pieces out, the more powerful we are, right? If we go from having 4 mana to dropping a 9 mana piece out, right? Like a 9 mana piece is supposed to be strong in the game, right? Like you shouldn't see a 9 mana piece out. And if this is like hitting people's early ramp and early commander that they've gotten out, I'm just saying, you want to Jeweled Lotus your commander out and then get turn 4 Portal Phyrexia, be my guest. You lose it. Now you're down to 3 mana and your commander costs 6. Grow up.
Once again, play more interaction, play more removal. Then you don't have to worry about this.
Now look at you at the table. Tears in your eyes. crying about I hate this game. Yeah, Portals for X is pretty mean.
See, people wonder why I play with so much removal. Look at how I have to deal with all this crap every single time. They run no removal for a reason. I run auto removal because I have to deal with this stuff that constantly comes at my face.
Yeah,
Sherman's just a mediator.
I need to make that onto a shirt at some point. I don't run removal. I need to be removed.
I don't run the removal. Yeah, I always need to be removed. I'm always the problem. Well, no, I'm the solution. So, like, you need to remove me so you become the problem again. There you go.
Yeah.
You're the problem to the problem.
Yeah.
That is true. Sherman is normally keeping me very in check in games. I don't like it.
No more Tarmogoyfs for you.
No. We have Titania's Song, which is an interesting game ender for us. So we've got a ton of artifacts, and the fact like Titania's Song can kind of throw them in, but it's 3 and a green. Each non-creature artifact loses its ability and is an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its total casting cost. If it leaves play, this effect continues until the end of the turn. Portal of Phyrexia being a 9/9 creature like late game as like a swing out kind of card is pretty crazy, especially if a board wipe has just gone off. Somebody's hit an all is dust, for instance. Everyone's sacked all their colored permanents, and then I just drop down a Titania Song and I've got like 40 CMC of artifacts to swing out with. Is a pretty powerful card, and it's also really fun to just wreck people's treasures. It's very, very enjoyable. There's zero.
It's true.
Yeah.
No more foods. No more clues.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have we have 2 final sections. Wow, I've got so many cards in here. It's such a stout list. Our second last section here is Tap Our Commander. These are going to be like vital cards to get out early because, again, we want our commander tapped. There's a ton of like ramp adjacent cards in here, I'm going to call them. They kind of ramp, kind of don't. Who's starting us off? Is it Slothy?
Sure. First one we've got here is Bramble Snap. 1 and a green for a 1/1 elemental with trample. Tap an untapped creature you control. Bramble Snap gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
Nice. Simple. Easy. Effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next card we have here is Citano Stalwart? Something like that. Is for a single green. Creature, Elf Druid Soldier. 1/1. You can tap it to tap an untapped artifact or creature you control. Add 1 mana of any color.
Yep. We have a Cultivator's Caravan. It's a nice little 3 mana rock. And also Crew 3, which is kind of nice that we can use it to tap our commander as well. It's a little bit extra ramp. Like I said, they're all kind of ramp adjacent. Things that are just going to let us get Kona tapped down, because the ideal thing, we're not running haste things. I'm too cheap to go buy Lightning Grease for every deck. I'm not doing it. So like I want Kona out as fast as I can, and if we can get it out and tapped on the first turn and start taking advantage of those big cards in our hand, then we're in great shape. So we want these things. The vehicle version of this deck, I played that one on Spell Table 2 or 3 nights ago, and that's really, really cool. The vehicles are a really, really fun way to play. It's I don't really ever play vehicles, so it's kind of entertaining.
Next up, we've got the Jespera Sentinel. Single green for a 1/2 elf rogue with reach. You can tap it and an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah. All right. We have a Lone Dryad for a single green. Creature, Dryad, Horror. For a 1/2. You can tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Yay!
Yeah, these are all pretty similar. We have a Sorali Caretaker, again, 1 green, 0/3 defender. You would not believe what it does. Tap an untapped creature you control, you add 1 mana of any color. These are all great, like early drops as well, too. A lot of them are just a little thicker, a 1/2, a 1/2, a 0/3 kind of thing, right? They're pretty good to get out early.
And the final one we've got here, Springleaf Drum. 1 mana for an artifact. You already know it taps itself and an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any color.
You already know what it do. That's a really nice cheap section, 363. It's very good. I've got some really cool budget versions of Kona that I'll put in the show list too. You're getting like 5 deck lists this week. 5-hour episode.
No.
This is our last section here, so I will believe it's Sherman who takes us away. So our last section is tokens.
So we have Canopy Tech, something like that. Scarab Swarm. I'm not a Warhammer player, okay? Leave me alone. For 4 mana, artifact creature insect. It's a 1/1. Flying. It has feeder manables. When the Scarab Swarm enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. For each artifact or land card exiled this way, create a 1/1 colorless insect artifact creature token with flying.
I like it. A nice little control piece that gives us some tokens. This next one is brutal in this deck. Mirrorworks is a 5 mana artifact. Whenever another non-token artifact enters, doesn't care about cast, under your control you can pay 2, and we don't care about our mana. If you do, you create a token that's a copy of it. That's rough. That's real rough. Nice. I'm going to just tell you guys right now, if you're looking at the video, Portal to Phyrexia is not legendary.
That is immediately what I scrolled over to check.
Portal to Phyrexia is not legendary, ladies and gentlemen. It's, we got him. It's pretty rough.
No.
The next one's pretty rough too.
Yeah. The next one we've got here is Phyrexian Turniform. It is a 9 mana 9/9 artifact creature, Phyrexian Golem. When it dies, create 3/3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature tokens, and it has Encore for 12.
Ooh, that's a big Encore.
That is a big Encore. But it, for what you get when it dies at the end of it, you know, like getting the 3/9/9, so 27 damage of swing, and then that's 27, true. 27 more damage of golems out is pretty crazy.
Very true.
And it hurts.
Yeah, it's very hurtful. Next card we have here is going to be a Sandworm Convergence for 6 double green. Enchantment, creatures with flying cannot attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. Great card, strong card.
Oh, so nice to be able to get out early too, especially against like an aggro flying deck, that back cleric deck that everyone's playing on Arena right now. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're playing against like angels, like anything that I play that I have flying, like I don't play removal. You bet you win. I've got to just try and make friends with Sherman. I got to call Sherman up. Next
we have a few videos where we team up, so hey, you never know.
It's true.
It has been known to happen.
Right. We have a Tendershoot Dryad next. These are all just phenomenal cards to drop down early as well. Every one of these gets out of hand really fast, except maybe the Canoptic, the whatever one it is, the Scarab Swarm thing. You get it. That one's not as wonderful early. Every other one is crazy. Tendershoot, like early, is nuts. It gets out of control so fast. 4 and a green for a 2/2 with Ascend, and it's a counter spell target for sure. That anyone who has a counter is going to get rid of Tendershoot if they can. But it has Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing. At the beginning of each upkeep, not just yours, you get a 1/1 green Saproline, and Saprolines you control get 2/2 as long as you have the City's Blessing.
Ooh, I really like this next card. We've got Threefold Thunderhulk, 7 mana for a 0/0 artifact creature gnome. When it enters the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters on it, and whenever it enters or attacks, create a number of 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens equal to its power. And then you can pay 2 and sacrifice another artifact to put a +1/+1 counter on Threefold Thunderhulk.
Rah!
Yeah, I like this card a lot, to be honest. It's really fun.
What are you talking about?
I love this gnome. It's very cool.
All right, we have
Sorry. I was just going to say, and you've also got 43 other artifacts in the deck.
Well, you can also sack its artifacts that it makes, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know.
Gross.
There's a reason why we have no instants.
We don't need them where we're going.
Very disappointed. Very disappointed.
We don't need them where we're going, boys.
We have a Triplicate Titan for our next card. It's going to be 9 mana. It's a 9/9 artifact creature golem. Has flying, vigilance, and trample. When the Titan dies, create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with flying. One that's a 3/3 that has vigilance, and another one that's a 3/3 that has trample. So it's like much like a Wormcoil engine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of big 9/9 creatures in this deck too.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, right.
It's like you're German or something like that.
999. We have Where's Thunder? We have a Verdant Force. It's 5 triple green for a 7/7, and at the beginning of each upkeep, you create a 1/1 green sapling. You don't really see Verdant Force as much lately, and I really like Verdant Force and its Verdant Force-like effects. But like, there's things like Bellow Dross, there's things like Tender Shoot is just a raw upgrade to the card. It's better in every way.
3 mana better, plus it has Ascend.
Yeah, right. Like it's just 3 mana better with Ascend. It's not a 7/7, okay, but it makes all of your saplings +2/+2. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Verdant Force is really, really fallen by the wayside, but I like it. I have a soft spot for it, and I like making saplings. I'm a simple man.
Fair enough.
The next one, if you get out on like a turn 4, like I said, an early drop, oof.
I'm packing up my SpongeBob deck, and I am going home.
I saw that, yeah.
But yeah, the final card we've got here is World Spine Worm. 8 triple green for a 15/15 worm with trample. When it dies, create 3 5/5 green worm creature tokens with trample. And when it is put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it into its owner's library.
It's a pretty cool card.
Ugh.
It's a very cool card.
Ugh.
Honestly, I made a deck that has my Atla Palani deck that's only 1 creature, which is Serra Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, it's like a fight deck where you like sacrifice it and get it and stuff. You could very easily like replace that deck with just Worldspire Worm and just have the same thing where you just constantly keep getting these like worm tokens. I'm probably just going to, after this, go and hit copy, take Serra Avatar out, put Worldspire Worm in, and then call it a day and be like, look at this, everyone, I've made another deck. That's a cheap deck too. That's like a real budget deck. That deck's like $60. Damn, I love Worldspire Worm. It's a really cool card. But yeah, 15/15 that you can dump out early is, there's no way that people are going to like, you're going to get some like moans and groans at the table if you drop this down. It's a trampler. It gives you 15 power toughness of creatures after it's removed. Like you basically have to exile this card.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, is it cool. Such a nice cheap card. The other, I just want to quickly, so all like the other ones will be in the list. I don't have like a budget version of this one, but I've got like a budget group hug Kona that's like $78. That's a really, really cool deck that's super fun to play. Like I've got a lot of Kona stuff. The Vehicles one is $280 for the full version, or hang on here, $85 for the cheap version. So I got a lot of really, really cheap versions of these decks. There's basically no right or wrong way to build Kona. I like if we all built it, I'm sure we would all build pretty different ones. But I just I just really, really like every part of this commander. Everything where I can just dump all this free stuff in makes me very happy. Yeah, that's it. That's my simple Kona deck. Is there really no instance? Not even one?
Not even one.
Not 0.
Damn.
I'm very disappointed in you, Daniel.
Damn, I'm not beating the allegations.
Very disappointed in you.
I built that whole deck around if I have no untapped lands I can draw. I really want a Well of Discovery. You've got to believe me. Yeah, you could really upgrade this deck pretty quickly by putting in some instants and just taking a few of these like power pieces out. However, there's a lot of pretty gasoline pieces in here that you could leave. Oh, also
why solve problems when you can be the problem? Let's face it.
Exactly.
Also, it is pretty fun that you can early game, if you get that, I'm just scrolling back up through them. Early game, if you draw a Nexus of Becoming, you can just like discard a Portal to Phyrexia and have a 3/3 Portal to Phyrexia creature out fast. It's such a stupid card. Nexus of Becoming never should have been printed. It's so fun. Yeah. Minus my lack of instance, what do you guys think as we wrap us up here?
Slothy, go ahead.
Okay. I quite enjoy it. I think it's going to be mean. So I'm looking forward to playing against it. I think that you've got a lot of really interesting cards in here. And having 0 instance, I mean, it's you. What can we expect?
Yeah. I put them in some decks.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was going through, like, I just did like a huge like bulk organize, and I sorted. First off, the first box I organized, I was just like, okay, here we go. And I sorted everything by color first. And then I was like, all right, now it's going to be artifact, enchantment, creature, instant, sorcery. And I sorted them all out by subtype. Then I sorted the or the enchantments into auras and non. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then I sorted them all by CMC. And I was like, ooh, I'm not doing that for any of the other boxes. So now all the other boxes are just sorted by type, and all of the enchantments are together, auras and not. So one box sorted phenomenally. Pristine. I just got alphabetized and then it's great. But no, yeah, it's that's a lot. But I was gonna say I've found so many instances that I'm out of. So many ops, portents, brainstorms, like just all pieces that I haven't had any decks. And again, a lot of times I don't really build. That's why I like doing the live brew stuff with Thunder, right? Because I can build kind of off my brain. I don't usually build off my brain because I don't have one. But I normally I go through what's in piles in front of me or in boxes, and I'm out of them because I have so many decks, right? So that's why a lot of times I just don't put instants in decks because I'm out of them. I don't have. Like, I'm out of Crossing Grips, got none of those. I'm not out of Naturalizes. I could have put a few in here. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to gaslight you guys and say that I didn't have a single green instant in my collection to put it. I just had nothing left. Please, you got to go to the Patreon and help me out. It's, but it's coming along. So there's a few decks that are coming that have some pretty silly instants. It's actually one of the ones, we're never going to do a deck tech on it because no one will want to see it. But I'm building like a very budget version of Lord Xander, which is only artifacts and blink spells, and there's no one that's going to have any fun with it at all. It's going to be just, I'm building it the same way I built Toxrill, where it's all artifacts to keep getting it out. And
That's fair.
But that one's got some instants, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
That one has to. Yeah, but your thoughts, Sherman, as we wrap up here.
So one thing I want to point out to everyone that plays against someone that has Kona. Okay, Kona normally is a creature where most people are like kill on sight. I say no, because the moment you kill Kona right when it comes in, you're creating enemies off the bat. Let them have at least one turn where they're throwing something big out and then destroy it or the big thing, and then now you can tell the table, hey guys, this is why we need to take out the Kona player first, okay? So, like we want to be political here. Like, so like if we're playing and I see Daniel come with this, okay, I'll let him have Kona for at least one turn, depending on what he throws out. If he's throwing out the portal to Phyrexia, we're gonna kill him. Yeah. I'm gonna politic. Like, well, this seems like a really strong deck. It seems like a lot of fun if you are the pilot of this deck. If you are on the receiving end on this deck, I think it might be a little bit more painful.
What's the salt score on this? It says the salt score is only 34 and that it's under the salt score. It's lying. It's not being real.
It's only the salt score is only low because it's like, okay, you're playing a jank deck because you have no instance in your deck.
It's lying. But yeah, no, it's you make a really, really good point there before we wrap up. Like so many people blow they blow removal the moment something hits the board. You know what I mean? I play Kona, we don't even pass a phase, somebody exiles it. All you've done is make me angry, and you haven't had a chance to get the whole table on your side now because you're like, oh, well, whatever, it's dealt with. Now I'm trying to target you, and on top of that, you haven't made the ally of the friend. Like you said, let them drop one big annoying thing, kind of like wait until you need to actually use that piece of removal. Wait until I drop like something big, like like let's say that I get one of that Shimmel out, right? The Inner Sun. It's so easy to just be like, Daniel is being a problem. He's trying to be uncounterable. Unless you play with me, you don't know that I have no instants and sorceries in the deck. So you're like, we now can't interact with him. We can't do this stuff. Like, he's a problem. We've got to kill him. And now I'm fighting the table. And no matter how good your deck is, fighting the table sucks. Fighting the table is not a good time, right? Like, because it's hard to beat the allegations of like, I'm not doing anything, leave me alone, when I like turn 4 out another 6 mana, 8 mana, 9 mana kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it is kind of nice to just let people sometimes bury themselves with their own play style, right? Like, because like you said, getting the table on board, it takes all the focus away from you. So you get to build your board state up, not having to worry about the interaction of other people because they're saving it for me now. You've made a common enemy. It's a nice way to play. It's smart politics.
Like we see the different play styles here. Like you can see, like when Daniel says like he plays like with nothing but pure gasoline. This is the perfect example of his style. Okay, this is pure gasoline. Nothing but pure fire. Like
Pure fire. I'm giving everyone draw. I'm letting everyone you draw whatever answer you want. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, let's see how much interaction you have. Okay, how many answers you have? Can you draw into it, and do you have enough to deal with all my monstrosities here? Right. This is Daniel's style, and then you look at my style. It's like no. I have to have at least 16 to 18 answers for every single deck that he plays for this reason.
I mean,
like I have like,
you're not
like
wrong.
7 or 8 like board wipes in my like Magnus Calgar deck for a reason.
I honestly, that's a deck really quickly too. I wanted to build for so long. It's such a cool commander. I love the Marnius. But
yeah,
that's it. Like you said, it's this is like normally I kind of chill out a little bit on my play style for our own deck techs. I'm like, all right, I won't be the worst of me. I won't be my character, but this deck is like all how I am. The mono green group hug version that like I'm gonna bring that one out to face. It's really, really fun to play. The being able to dump those big like you become the monarch like Dawnglade Regent, those kind of things out. Dumping those out, becoming the monarch, getting a coveted jewel out early, like they're like really, really, it's a super fun way to play. And it's not as feel bad. Everyone seems like they'll like that one more. But man, this one's fun to play. The vehicle version is really cool. It's I think the mid range of it. There are a few instances in that. I know, but there's not many. Trust me. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, let me get over to our lovely screen. Woo, where's my button? Bam. Thank you guys for getting through my great deck full of instant gratification cards. That's my playstyle, instant gratification. Like, share, subscribe. It really does help us out with things. Come out and see us at Face to Face. It's a good time. It's always fun to interact and play. We're going to be recording like we always are and everything. So come play. I think I'm going to put together a deck that we'll do a giveaway with as well, because I've just got too many decks. I got nowhere to put them. So probably do one of that. And if you want to come out and you don't really play a ton, come learn to play. Come play just silly games with us. It'll be a fun time. If you want to support us above, like, share, subscribe, come to Patreon. It's always fun to chat with everyone, brew decks over there. Go to houseofcards.ca for any of these like expensive ones. There's some banger ones, but I did get I put a few orders in, like 2 separate orders now because I have no self-control, and they come fast. They're really, really quick, especially over in Canada and stuff. Good prices and everything, so it's very nice. Go over there. Promo code IT99 gets you a discount at checkout. Supports them, gets you money, supports us. It's all good for everyone. AI Armor just has the best sleeves in the game. I can't go back to katanas or anything like that. Like I really like those AI Armor sleeves. They're not all puffed up and everything. We've got a great link in our bio for that. Go over there and everything. They're phenomenal. Great price sleeves, great sleeves. That's it. Pretty much it. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Later. Catch you later.
Yeah. Bye-bye, everyone.
See you later.
Let's give everyone a little second with the music here.